Are winter tyres worth the money? Now, I've been riding the Pirelli 4S tyres here this winter, so I've been testing them and finding out what they're like for you. Just a heads up, I was sent these for free for testing to show on the channel. So first things first about these tyres, these aren't technically a winter tyre. They are a high performance wet weather tyre. And you'll see that they have more sipes, the grooves that channel more water out of them. But Pirelli say the actual purpose of them is not to channel more water out, but to warm the tyre up faster. Obviously you've got a bit more tread in there. It's going to deform the tyre a lot more, meaning that the tyre will heat up quicker. More mechanical movement of the tyre, which of course, when it's cold and wet, is very useful for grip. The sipes are of course also there for water clearance as well. Basically, Pirelli wanted to make a tyre that's still relatively fast, but performs better in the wet. It's just trying to be a fast wet tyre. The tyre does come with an increased thickness of the rubber, so of course that's going to affect rolling resistance a bit. We'll talk about that in a moment, but it does also increase the puncture resistance of the tyre itself as well. It's good to know that this tyre isn't meant to be like a gator skin. It's not meant to be invincible basically. It's meant to be just a good all season rounder, like wet weather, cold weather tyre. Tubeless, the tyres of course come tubeless ready, as any good tyre should nowadays. The tyres come in 3 different widths. That's a 26, a 28 and a 30. The version I've got here is 30mm because, well, I want to go as wide as possible and as comfortable as possible for the UK winter and the UK road. I've set them up with TPU tubes. The main reason being is that I don't run this bike all year round. I run it for winter, and I don't want to be taking out all the old sealant and stuff when I don't use the bike for half a year. Is it fast? The answer is kinda. So bicycle rolling resistance has this tyre in at 12.8 watts, is how much the tyre costs you in rolling resistance to roll along basically. Their top performing tyre, which is their P0 Race RS Speed Core, a lot of words in that one, that comes in at 8.4 watts. So obviously quite a big difference per tyre on this compared to their fastest tyre, but that's about as fast as it gets. Very thin rubber casing, minimal puncture resistance. I will say when you are riding them, they don't feel slow, but you definitely can tell the difference that they're not quite as fast as like a summer performance tyre. And they're not, I know they're not actually trying to be a summer performance tyre, they're trying to be a all year round winter long lasting tyre. So yeah, just when you are rolling along, it does feel like there's just that extra bit of rolling resistance. Like if you're doing a fast group ride with friends, it does feel like it holds you back just a little bit. But once again, this is a tyre designed for wet weather, poor conditions, cold conditions, and I think for a tyre that's trying to accommodate those conditions, it does roll well, it does go fast, it does have the puncture resistance. And especially when you compare it to other tyres that are trying to be a winter tyre as well, it is faster. Is it grippy? Let's talk about dry weather first. You know, even when it's cold and dry, the answer is, I think yes. Usually I'm quite hesitant to start testing a tyre out. I'm quite slow to build up my confidence with a tyre. I actually found with these, I built up my confidence fairly quickly on them, which was very nice. So in the dry, I think they're confidence inspiring. You can really use the grip that they actually have. When it comes to wet weather grip, this is something that unfortunately I can't test for you that well because I take it a lot easier in the wet. I've broken my collarbone cycling. I do not want to do it again. Not a fun experience, and I'm not willing to risk it just to test wet weather grip, as I'm sure most of you are. That being said, once again, I feel fairly confident riding these. In fact, I feel very confident riding these in wet weather with the grip. Anytime I go around any corner, not once has the rear wheel slipped out, not once have I felt like I'm close to the limits of it. Like I said, I'm not trying to be, especially in wet weather, but it is confidence inspiring in terms of the grip. Once again, you go on bicycle rolling resistance and the wet grip testing. I'll put the links below to all of this. The wet grips testing is one of the best they've ever tested, and that comes down to their compound that they use for the tires themselves, as well as the extra sipes and the increase in heat accumulation because it has more of those sipes. So yeah, I think it adds up to a whole grippy package. puncture resistance and longevity. Now here in the UK, I normally puncture at least once here in winter. There's so much like stones and thorns and rubbish on the roads. But these I haven't punctured once at all, which has been fantastic. It's nice to not be stuck on the side of the road on a winter day. Now once again, that looks like it comes from the increase in the tyre tread. The longevity of this tyre seems to be doing quite well. It's holding up nicely. As you can see, that's the rear tyre there. This is the one that obviously wears a bit more. And you've got the tread wear indicator right there. You can see, once again, loads of life left in this thing. I think these tyres will survive quite a while. I'm nearly 90 kilos at the moment. And, well, I reckon I'll be able to run this tyre maybe through 2 or 3 winters, which is quite nice. Okay, what about fitting the tyre on and off? And this is one area where these tyres were a nightmare. I honestly don't think I have ever struggled this much to get a tyre on. Now, one thing I'm hoping after riding the tyre for like 1500 kilometers is that the mechanical movement and the weight on it and the tyre pressure has stretched the tyre a little bit. You know what, let's just test it now whilst we're here on video. Let's just pretend we've changed the inner tube. Okay, they've stretched a lot, which is good, very good. Both these tyres were so hard at the beginning, but that was more than doable with just my hands. I can confirm they stretch and get a lot easier to put on. It's just the first time. Well guys, there it is. It's actually a tyre that I've really liked for the winter. So obviously we're coming towards summer, spring and summer now. But for next winter, definitely worth a consideration from me if you want a more puncture resistant and a tyre that handles the wetter roads with more confidence and more grip. I also think in terms of the speed, I hadn't ridden the old versions of the Pirellis, but the old versions didn't get amazing reviews. Apparently they felt a little bit slow, they felt a little bit heavy, but apparently the new versions are much better, and riding these ones, they don't feel slow at all to me. Like I said, you can tell there is a thicker tyre tread, there is more puncture resistance. It is a wet weather all year round kind of tyre. It's not a summer race tyre, but it doesn't feel slow for what it's doing. It feels like a fast winter tyres, and I think the Pirelli P0 4S does what it says on the tin. Anyway guys, do you have any experiences with these tyres? What are your thoughts? Do you use them for winter, or do you use a different tyre for winter? If you have any questions that you don't think I've answered on here, or specific ones, put them in the comments below. I reply to most things. Or you can find me over here on Instagram. You can message me privately there as well. I reply to most things on there. But I've been Jason. This has been Cycling Unboxed. See you in another video.